Double the resources, triple the time. I can.
And
just
you
give
only had
numbers.
30 and you only had $30,000 to spare. So yani,
The 30K came after as what you feed it.
garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
I remember a few that definitely I'll take a bullet for them, because if it wasn't for them, I would have never graduated.
They had a football
Participate as
participate as a participant company.
okay, with you with your staff.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
But I know you're a big skier, so what were you doing? They don't have ski obviously in Dubai.
ski and football run in the blood.
I always used to say that people laugh at me when I say, "No, I'm happy you're the second one," because it's true. I mean, never
Yeah,
trust a
exactly.
skinny chef. And an annual revenue of 100 million.
We did $1 million dirhams in 2022.
So okay, now going back online. Three, two, one. Rodolph. Nice to have you.
Great to have
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Alok.
Usually the way that I do it is I let people do their own introduction, so I think it's better.
لكن I'll give you the elevator. My name is Rodolph Khlat. I'm a co-founder of Smartr AI. We help developers build software faster, better, and at a fraction of the cost.
Nice. And basically, Anna, one thing that really caught my attention is that it seems like you almost started this company straight out of university. Yani, you barely like you graduated with honors from University of Belmont in 2019,
Exactly.
and that you did your masters in 2021, and you started Smartr in 2021. Yeah, you wasted no time.
Exactly. It's a funny thing. Hannah, my co-founder, we were still in uni
Yeah.
when we started developing together.
Yeah.
We wanted money, صراحة.
Yeah.
It was a process for some to just make a living, and it's something we started and continued doing. I registered my company before even finishing my masters.
You registered it where?
Here in Dubai.
Oh, so you already knew.
Yeah.
You already knew. يعني انت when you're gonna finish university straight
Exactly.
to Dubai.
Exactly. It's always been the plan.
Okay.
It got accelerated by what unfortunately happened in Lebanon. It was during the Taura period as well
Yeah.
as after COVID hit.
Okay.
So basically, late October 2020, we reached Dubai, and this is where we started to look for clients. We basically had nothing. We booked a small project as freelancers when we were still in Lebanon and used those funds. This is the 6K that I always talk about. These were the funds that brought us here. We came with practically nothing, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah, we started there. I finished my master's online.
Yeah.
Thank God, they had online as an option.
Okay.
I finished my master's online while still registering the company, and this is how we started together. So yeah.
So wait, so you came with $6,000 and then you started. Let me ask you the question in a different way. What was the first actual real project that you were able to book in Dubai?
Okay. In Dubai, it was. I'll tell you a little bit of a story.
Yeah, I love stories, so obviously I want to hear it.
So we came in October.
Yeah.
We were trying to get customers.
Okay.
We tried. It was a network thing. We tried to. I have a proper network here. We were trying to use it and abuse it as much as possible to get the people. And
But how do you have a good network here?
I have a lot of my family here.
Oh, very good. Okay.
So I got some introductions and
Okay.
tried to work it.
Okay.
Tried to work the leads basically.
Okay.
So we went back to Lebanon in December.
Yeah.
We still had nothing, and we were running on the absolute edge of everything. So in January we made the other trip back here, also with nothing, and it was a make or break thing. And in February we booked our first project here.
Oh,
It was
nice.
for, I believe it's little over $30,000 or $40,000.
No bad.
And yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
They gave us a chance, and it proved very, very well for them. They've been a client for around 2.5 years.
Nice.
So it's been a very good relationship with
Well,
them.
what was the project?
It was a part of a larger entity.
Okay.
So we developed a small functionality for them. It was around smart cities. It's a smart city as a service platform.
Smart City as a Service platform. Okay.
Yeah, basically. So basically, they create digital images of a building,
Okay.
and just display, for example,
Okay.
APIs, display some information, like a
Yeah.
sort of a digital twin.
Yeah.
We started a little bit in terms of helping them develop some functionality, and then that transformed to us handling the entire project start to finish.
Nice. And at that time, did you develop it using the traditional software development ways, or you actually? That's a key question.
It was a bit of a sneakier move because
Okay.
they were totally against using AI.
AI,
I
okay.
don't know if this might piss some people off.
Well, it's too late. Khala, it's too late. What's done is done.
We started using AI,
Yeah.
but without telling them that we were using it, because they did not believe that we were going to be here long term.
Okay.
They had a concern of us vanishing because we were practically two people with nothing. So it was a concept we worked towards eliminating. So we used our AI, but just told them that it was traditional development. We were developing with a team and everything. So this might get me into a little bit of trouble, but it's time passes and everything heals. So we used AI, but masked it as traditional development, and basically we pulled the cape when we were very well integrated into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were using AI and just giving it as traditional development because we have code that writes code. We've been building this AI before AI was cool and the entire wave happened.
If you would have had to do it in the traditional way, how much longer would it have taken?
Double the resources, triple the time. I can.
And you only had $30,000 to spare. So
the 30K came after this. We
had
nothing.
Oh, come on!
But this was the requirement.
So you were really hustling, like really.
It was an experiment. Honestly.
It was an experiment, yeah.
Looking back, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a good type of crazy that you need sometime. So yeah, it's been good.
That's amazing. Top. Let's talk about the inspiration behind this particular company.
Yeah.
So at what point did you guys realize that, okay, you know what? We need to create Smartr. Can I say Smartr or Azure Soft? Like which one? Or can I say Smartr is a product of or a vertical of?
So Azure, the software house was Azure Soft.
Okay.
And now we're transitioning into Smartr AI, the product, the software development automation engine.
But they're separate verticals. They're separate companies.
Azure Soft will be the name will be The name will be retired. Okay. But it's always there in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of the service, in terms of everything. So they're more or less the same. You can refer to whatever. Okay. But now we're going as Smartr going forward. So
all right. So what was the inspiration behind? At what point did you guys realize, all right, you know what, we need to do this?
Okay, so I will never take credit for this ever. This Hanna is the person, he is the technical genius behind Smartr. Okay. It was always...
So next time we should have Hanna also.
We need to have him, for sure.
Yeah. But it sounds like a bit of a character, kind of like...
He's insane. So we started as uni students, and we had the typical funds that uni students have, which is nothing. Yeah. So we wanted a way to hire developers for cheap and make sure they develop quality code. This is where the automation started to happen. We started to find ways to automate the typical development flow that we used, and the concept of Smartr had become apparent, basically. So we started Azure Soft with the goal of having the Smartr engine as a product being sold to developers. This has always been the goal going forward. So the concept started as a way to acquire junior developers and have them produce senior level output. Okay. And this is how it happened.
By basically kind of holding their hand and empowering them with this tool that can sort of guide them and more or less give the same quality.
Basically, it's having the tool that writes for them. Yeah. Because we've reached a point where we've automated around 80% of our development.
80%?
80%.
My God.
So a typical person would have the actual output of 5 developers.
So again, this again proves the 80-20 concept.
In a way, exactly.
It proves it again, that you only need to be really focused on the 20% of the quality of the code and how to, let's say, put it in the proper architecture, and then the rest is all donkey work.
So yeah, exactly. We do eliminate the Smartr. The goal behind Smartr initially to get rid of this donkey work because it is a very big and boring part of the application.
And it's very, I think, tedious, repetitive.
It's very
from
repetitive.
the general information that
and
I
it's
know.
standard. And we automated the 80%, so you would basically have a very large portion of your app continuously being developed up to industry standards. There is nothing that will interfere with this part of your development. There isn't the human element. There isn't the error-prone element. So basically what would happen is that Smartr sets the infrastructure for your application, and it helps you develop the 20%, which is the custom logic that makes every application different. So this is exactly how it happens, and this is how the speed actually happens. Because you would get rid of the boring part and have a engine. It is an engine through itself, helping you build the custom logic that only a human can develop until now. We're making changes for that to pass the 80%. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, this is the concept.
But that's amazing. But when did you guys realize that there was such capability in the market to do this? Like at which year was it the breakthrough that, oh my God, this technology is really there and we can?
Very early on. It's something we had when we were starting off. It's something we developed from the actual start. When we came to Dubai, we had an instance of Smartr running. It's something we developed.
No, I'm talking about the technology itself of because you said that you almost started doing it even when you were at university. So you're talking around 2019,
2020. Okay. Exactly. So it started as templating. Which is a form of AI. It's how you manipulate your data. It started as templating and just finding ways to structure your application because it's all blocks of code. So if you can generate these blocks of code relatively quickly, I couldn't care less if it's a developer or a machine creating it. The output is there. And if you are that disciplined when developing, you will not be much different than a machine in terms of the quality of your work. So you have to be that dependent. So what started as templating as a technology then started to evolve as we got more and more exposed to AI and its actual capabilities. So it was a work in progress. But it's I always say we've been building AI before it was cool, honestly. So
which is amazing because I feel like you being on the ground here is also very advantageous for you because most of this work is outsourced also overseas. So I feel like you guys have like this perfect business model or setup in which the 20%, the quality 20% is in your hands and you're here and you've pretty much eliminated the 80% by not even outsourcing it overseas, but just, teaching your machines and just having like proper machine learning so that's it. That's all you need. They already know what you want. You style it the way that because you were just, before we started the podcast, you were saying how, and that's very interesting, how your partner, Hannah, actually teaches ChatGPT. So I'll let you say it. I want you to say it. Like, so what does he do exactly?
Exactly. Your AI is only as good as what you feed it.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. Okay. So garbage AI, it's basically shit AI gives shit output. But I don't think we can use that. So your AI is only as good as what you feed it. So as
good as what you feed it and as good as what you teach it.
Exactly. Okay. Feeding it and teaching it basically the information that you wanted to give out. The form of the information that you wanted to give out. Because it's basically a 4-year-old with the world's information. You have to be direct, you have to be clear, you have to be concise. So what he's done is that he's given it the information about himself and about what he expects from it to give him. So he's very clear with what he wants, and he's very clear that he knows very well that what he wants. So it eliminates a lot of the jargon that sometimes it causes some of the AI hallucinations. And you have to shout on it every now and then just to get it back in line. So it's a process, but he's gotten insanely well with that process. And he's taught it to every single one of our team, me included. So
and this obviously is a product of years of teaching and learning because you've probably also taken all that experience and just improved the algorithm. Well, improve the model, improve the AI itself.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because I always wondered, like, how is it that they keep saying that the AI growth is very exponential, but now it makes sense because the more you teach it, the faster it's going to grow, like you said. So if it's a 4-year-old, it could be someone that has the wisdom and the experience of a 50-year-old, but in a 1-year span.
Exactly.
So I am actually curious and understanding why, because you said, I think also before when we were chatting, that you already knew that you were going to come to Dubai even before you graduated.
Yeah.
But why is that? Out of all the places, because you know very well that someone like you, because I know you graduated with honors. So I actually watched the graduation clip that you had. I did my research, don't worry. You could have gone to the US. You could have gone to many other places that are world-known ecosystems. But why here?
Honestly, there wasn't much thought behind it. I've always known Dubai from my family being here. My extended family is here. My parents and brothers are in Lebanon full time. So I've always had Dubai in terms of the place where I want to work. By I mean Hannah and I as well. So it's always been a place where we knew we had something there, and it was a very easy move. It was not the migration that you would expect when you want to go to the US, to Europe, etc.
And the paperwork and the visas.
And the entire process was hard and unknown to us. And it was a very fast decision because we made the decision to go to Dubai when we saw that, okay, when you're a software house in Lebanon, your value gets automatically slashed by 80%. So you would lose any hope of creating a proper company.
Yeah.
Because it was fresh off the dollar LBP situation. And people were plainly taking advantage of that at that time.
Yeah.
Which is when we pulled the trigger and said, okay, this is done.
It's not sustainable.
This is impossible to grow in. So the nearest pond we were able to.
So basically, what you're trying to say is a very little barrier to entry in terms of.
It was instant. Honestly. Yeah. I've never seen a country where you can get up and running as fast as it is here.
Yeah, which is why it's a lot of companies are like, they really prefer starting here because it's just like you said, you hit the ground running within a few days.
Exactly.
Almost. But were you like, did you like, just when you came here, did you burn all bridges, or did you have like some sort of like plan B, or did you have any uncertainty? How was the feeling when you?
It's a funny thing because uncertainty is part of the job, honestly. And there was no form of plan B. There was there's a concept that's always in my mind. Like, God basically, if you work hard, what was it? If you truly try your best, and if you really give it everything you have, it's impossible to fail. God rewards those who try their best.
Yes.
So.
And you have to have good intentions.
Exactly.
Because obviously, if you work really hard at trying to rob someone,
that's
it's not
exactly. So basically, good, honest work will always be rewarded.
Yeah. If not immediate.
For sure. At some point.
At some point.
We came here, we wanted to make it work at all costs.
Yeah.
Even if it required everything we could offer.
Yeah.
It was required. We did not give it permission to fail. Yeah. So in terms
and you get and what's insane is that you never even worked for anyone, neither you or Hannah. So it's like
it's always been a goal to just start this company, and we aligned very well. It's a funny story.
Are you guys like best friends or something?
Yeah, he's a brother to me.
Okay.
And funny enough, and this is something he'll enjoy, we really hit it off cheating on an exam. And I will not mention where, I will not mention how, but this is where the bond really happened. So it was common interest, it was common goals, we were very aligned. And this is how it started, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that helps you cheat is someone that you hold very close to your heart. Obviously, I remember a few that definitely I'll take a bullet for them, because if it wasn't for them, I would have never graduated. I definitely cheated my way through a few things.
Yeah, sometimes it is required, but
Yeah.
when people's livelihoods are at stake, this is when you can't take any shortcuts, and this
Yeah.
is a very, very bold line we drew.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Obviously, we're talking about a few courses. I don't think anyone is gonna
exactly.
make a big deal out of it. This is recorded, so we draw the line. We draw the line only at exams and homework. That's it. We're not.
Yeah,
Disclaimer. Exactly.
Exactly.
So when it comes to like projects, what's the most interesting one, or let's say the most innovative one that you guys worked on so far?
Okay, so every project we've taken on has its own essence.
Yeah.
Because we are like sector agnostic in terms of how we develop.
Okay.
We couldn't care less
Yeah.
we don't niche ourselves in certain areas of business. As long as we can understand the business model, we will execute for sure.
Very good. Which allows you to be flexible and enter any domain.
And it was a blessing because for me personally, I'll speak for myself, it allowed me to learn a lot about business and business development because of the pure variance of the people that we were interacting with.
Yeah.
Now I'm a very big sports head, so the closest platform to my heart is Dubai Corporate Games, which is one of our most recent.
Yeah.
I love sports and I love adding value to sports.
Yeah.
And when we approached them with the concept, they were very interested in achieving it, which is basically digitizing what was.
So you approached them?
Yeah, it was a nice story.
I want to hear it. Whenever there's a story, I want to hear it. I'm all about stories.
It's something that I haven't made public ever.
Okay, now's your chance.
Bahi will enjoy this. We had the Dubai Corporate Games football tournament in November, I believe, of maybe 2023.
Okay.
So
can you explain what Dubai Games is for the ones that
Dubai
don't?
Corporate Games is a competition for companies to just compete in sports. They had a
with their staff, obviously.
Exactly, pure staff. They had a football tournament running. Pure football, nothing else. It wasn't the original big Dubai Corporate Games. The Dubai Corporate Games is a event that happens, I believe, in February, March, where it involves more than 3,500 people.
What?
Yeah. Companies
wow, so this is huge.
Exactly, yeah.
So and I'm sure this becomes an ego thing,
Yeah.
for companies, our staff are like that.
There are insane bragging rights involved.
Yeah,
and
of course.
They take advantage of it to the full extent. Yeah, a lot of the biggest companies in Dubai basically participate in this competition. So I saw it when it was too late in 2022.
Yeah.
And I couldn't take part of it. So I made it a goal to just participate in the next one.
Okay.
So they had a
participate as
a participant company.
Okay, with your staff.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
but I know you're a big skier, so what were you doing? They don't have ski obviously in Dubai.
Ski and football run in the blood. So
okay, so football, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So and I also wanted to have Dubai Corporate Games as a client.
Okay.
It was always something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
So when the football competition happened in I think November or September, I participated with Smartr, our company. Our team wasn't the best, but I just wanted to get a foot through the door and just meet the
organizers.
And meet the organizers.
Yeah.
So I met Bahi. He's an amazing person, and we just hit it off. He knew I was a software developer.
Yeah.
So we just talked about the concept of creating an application.
Nice.
And within maybe 2-3 weeks, we had the concept running and the project landed, and we were starting to build for the Dubai Corporate Games in February.
Oh wow!
So yeah, we participated.
So just off topic question a little bit. It's a private organization, Dubai Corporate Games, or is it semi-government or?
They have. Honestly, I'm not in a position to address, but they have ties with the RDC. I think it's called.
Okay.
The Sports Council, basically.
Yeah.
So, but it is a.
It's supported by it's supported by government initiatives.
They've been doing it for 15 years.
Oh,
so
very
it's
good.
I think even more.
Yeah.
So it's like it's become an annual tradition in Dubai.
Very good.
Amazon.
Well, now I know that next February I should definitely participate.
Yeah, too. It was amazing. Honestly.
So you guys so that's how it happened. And
Yeah,
you
we went through with the football tournament with barely anyone. We got
Yeah.
knocked out, but the goal was to have the application
and you ended up with
landed,
it.
and we ended up doing it. And now
Oh,
we're
wow.
the official application provider for Dubai
Amazing.
Corporate Games and Abu Dhabi Corporate Games in November. as well.
Amazing. So basically, one thing led to another.
Exactly. It's
And like they're covering, obviously now it's much more than just football. It's
Yeah.
also other sports too.
It's maybe 35 something sports.
Wow.
They have everything from paddle to tennis to football to volleyball,
Yeah.
even dragon boat tugging and everything.
That's
Everything.
amazing.
With fitness competitions, it's an amazing event, and it was one of my greatest pleasures that we were able to provide value to this event.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big sports guy too, so I love these things, and it's just nice to know that there's such. I didn't even know about this. Like I didn't know about like the Dubai Corporate Games until you mentioned it.
No,
So,
no way.
but now I do.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the industry insights and trends. I want you to explain to people so that they really, because I really want to showcase the value of your company, which I really admire and respect a lot what you're doing. But I want you to just sort of like simplify how your company is different than traditional software development.
Okay.
Because you know everybody knows if you want to build something, you go to a programmer, a coder, whatever it is, a software developer. He writes a bunch of codes. If it's really good quality, you end up with a great product, and the opposite is also true. But how does Smartr do things differently when it comes to software development?
Okay, so basically, we like to say Smartr is built around 3Ds. It's
Okay.
data, design, and developers.
Okay.
So what Smartr does is that it uses elements of your project to build your project with you. We're built around metadata.
Okay.
And
What's metadata for one?
metadata is basically structural data. It's not, you would not use critical information such as, let's say, usernames, passwords, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't even access any critical logic of the entire app.
Mm-hmm.
So we use structural logic.
It's the data about data,
Data
basically.
of data, exactly.
Data of data.
So-
That's how I know people describe it.
That's exactly what it is. So thank you for that. So it's basically data about data, and we use that to build code.
Yes.
Because a lot of the software development process is donkey work.
Yes.
There is a lot of continuous processes that can be automated that are involved. Smartr is
Which back in the day, a traditional software developer would manually have to do it, and it would take months.
Exactly. It would take days, weeks, months. Especially
Depending
as the
on the
application
size.
grows.
Yeah.
And it's very human dependent. The concept of
So obviously a lot of errors can happen.
yeah, exactly. The concept of automation has always been there, but it's a matter of how bold you are when implementing it. So the concept of Smartr came as a form of automating this donkey work.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're scaling up and basically creating an automation for the entire software development lifecycle, involving architectures, involving code, involving data. Basically, the entire stack is getting accelerated. So it's basically like having the actual output of 10, 20 developers operating with you at all times. And these developers will not get tired. These developers will not go anywhere.
They will work
just,
24 hours.
They're just working forward and pushing forward with the application.
Mm.
And now we're working more towards making it an engine that's accessible to everyone by integrating LLMs. So
What do you mean by integrating LLMs?
We're integrating an OpenAI API basically to have a conversational developer.
Okay.
So rather than having a developer configure his Smartr engine and build code with him, you can have a AI bot that you would call, that you would talk with, and will do the Smartr connections and the setups for you, essentially resulting in an application maybe in under 10 minutes. A full-fledged application.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's amazing. But are there any specific industries that are adopting like this AI software development, or are there any specific industries that might be against it, you know? Or is it becoming acceptable now that because I know you said that the first project you wanted it, they wanted it to be done traditionally, but you did it using AI. What's the general opinion about that? Are they supportive of it, like your client, I mean?
Yeah. It's become a part of life, honestly.
Okay.
Everyone knows that AI is being used, and everyone uses AI in a way to develop, whether it's asking GPT about a couple of questions, or using it to create some code, or using an AI engine to create an entire application. So it's always been there, and now the concept is only delivery. This is where it matters. If you deliver organized, scalable code, you couldn't care less. The client couldn't care less whether it was developed using a typewriter or the most advanced machine on earth. So
yeah, that's good. But how is this also affecting the job market, like how it usually was in terms of whether it's talent acquisition or even just disrupting the software development market?
It's become exciting because it has raised the bar. The standard for delivery has become much higher, which is something beautiful, and which is something everyone appreciates.
Yeah.
Because you no longer have an excuse for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to deliver quality consistently.
Yeah.
And this is how it's made the job market harder to enter, but very rewarding for those who do. So a person properly using AI will have, for himself and for whatever organization he'll serve, as a freelancer, as an employee, as a leader, as whatever, for any organization he will serve, he will be a very large addition of value.
Yeah.
So yeah, this
only the good ones will make it out, basically.
Yeah, sure thing.
And do you foresee maybe your business model to change, or do you feel like at least for the next few years this is how it's gonna remain?
We are in the process of changing the business
How?
model because we've been a software house for the past 4 years.
Okay.
And we've been building software for clients consistently.
Right.
And now we are in the process of basically packaging Smartr and releasing it as a software as a service to development houses globally. So
basically white labeling kind of.
It's as an internal tool on a subscription base where people can get access to this engine for a monthly fee or a year.
And for you, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing, because it makes more sense to have a monthly recurring revenue rather than working on a project by project basis.
And it's also related to focus. We love developing software for clients. The service itself will never go away. It will stay, but for very niched clients. Yeah. But the process itself is about focus, because when you're good at something, it was an aha moment when we were going forward. It was an internal tool for the past 4 years, but we reached a point where, okay, this provides significant value to the market. This is what we should capitalize on. So we are starting to capitalize on the product itself, which is Smartr, the engine. And this will require us to go full-time development for this. So it would only make sense to just go towards the subscription route, because it would allow us to just focus the energies on developing Smartr, the engine, rather than serving a multitude of service clients, basically. Because to scale a service, you need people, but to scale a product, you need basically distribution and several other aspects just to make it work.
But if you're gonna do it on a monthly subscription fee, don't you need also volume for that?
Yeah, exactly.
So how are you going to ensure that large enough volume? That would make sense.
Yeah. So we're working on a go-to-market plan. We have significant marketing channels that we will be targeting very soon, and we will be actioning on very soon. So there is a distribution plan in mind for that, and hopefully it will be working out rather nicely.
That's great. Looking forward. So what about company and product development? Like, how do you make sure that you guys stay on top of things and that like you stay on up to like the latest trends? Like, do you have an R&D department, or how do you harness innovation?
So there's a very personal initiative involved, especially from Hanna's and the entire team as well. So there is a concept of continuous innovation. We always like to stay on new topics, find new things. Basically, we have like some automations involved where if someone finds a nice concept or a nice tool online, it would hit a Slack channel and just notify everyone that there is something for someone to research. Like this concept of continuous integration of new technologies and just staying exposed is a very important thing that we built the entire company on. So we're always exposing ourselves to new technologies consistently and just making sure that we get the best of whatever the world is providing.
Yeah. And then what's very interesting is that you guys managed to grow to almost more than 10 people in less than a few years. I mean, that's for software, the software development house, that's pretty big, especially that you're already AI powered. So you already are very non-human intensive, yet you still manage to grow this quickly, which is very impressive. But what's even more impressive is that I read also that most of your staff are basically freshers, average 24 years old,
Exactly.
and don't even have experience, that much experience, but they were able and managed to deliver high-end, top-quality project just because of how good your system is.
Exactly.
So can you like just elaborate as to how can someone with such little experience and basically no real knowledge be able to deliver such high-quality project?
It's a lot thanks to the standards that we implement, because how you do one thing is basically how you do everything.
Yeah.
And we set the bar very high for the quality of work that we put forward as a company.
And you automate it too. So if it
Exactly.
doesn't pass a specific threshold, it doesn't go through.
Exactly. As well, and our automation handles a lot of the code creation for us. So the process of producing quality becomes easier as we go forward as a company. And it's something we made crystal clear to everyone coming in, is that quality is over everything.
Yes. Because it's your name on the line.
Exactly. It's our name, and most importantly, it's our clients. Because someone trusting you with his business, his or her business basically, is trusting you with the most important thing ever.
Yeah.
So it's a huge responsibility to take. And when you're starting off with the age factor, which also sometimes plays a role, but not always, thankfully, you have to provide significant value to justify the risk being taken.
Yes.
So, alhamdulillah, it's been something that we've been able to justify over and over again for all of our clients, which has allowed us to have a very nice word of mouth, essentially, which has allowed us to grow the company and grow the projects and grow the reach we've been able to acquire.
Yeah, and would you agree that again, going back to the rule that I love the most, but would you agree that 20% of your clients are pretty much bringing 80% of the revenue at the company?
100%.
100%. So it's just basically repeat business.
Exactly. It's a matter
for
of
most
being,
of them, or at least reference.
Yeah, exactly. It's a matter of being very well integrated with your clients and being able to provide them value and minimize their headache.
Yeah.
And people will pay good money to minimize as much headaches.
Like you said, I mean, when you're managing someone's cyber space and cyber existence, it's pretty much second to your banking requirements.
Exactly.
It's as important, because if you're not there and if it's not up to par, you're at risk. And I also, when I did my research about your company, I found that you mentioned that your company is a lot more scalable than as an organization than a normal software development house. How? Like, can you explain?
Okay, so to give a little bit of context, if we were to service the already existing client base we have, we would need double the people without Smartr as an engine. The automation plays a significant role, and the standards for development also play the additional role. But
can I stop you there and just ask one small question, please, if you don't mind? Do your clients understand that?
Yeah.
Like, are they aware that, okay, guys, we have a small team, but trust me, these guys can produce as many as 200 people, for example?
Yeah.
Like, do they get that? Like, because you're talking to maybe non-technical people.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So the way to deal with that is that it's a marketing principle, is that making sure that the client perceives value as quickly as possible.
Right.
So we make it very clear that we're very fast by delivering very early, at early stages of the development. And once the client sees that, okay, there is something, and there was a short time taken to do that, he understands that, okay, we actually know what we're doing, and we actually practice what we preach. Because you can say I'm the fastest person on earth, but you have to run. Yeah. You have to walk it, basically. So the automation involved, we have standards of development in the company, basically. So every person on the team writes similar to how Smartr creates code.
Right.
So you have essentially 10 people all working in the same way, producing the same quality of code and in the same methodology. So it becomes very easy to switch projects between people and add a few here and remove a few there.
Yeah.
So it becomes a very fluid process.
Right.
Which allows us to scale up quickly, scale down quickly, and basically scale in all directions.
Yeah.
Which has allowed us to build quicker and scale quicker than the other companies. We built the team in little around 2.5 years. So it was a continuous process. We got everyone was a fresh graduate, almost everyone. So it was a concept of getting fresh people, just teaching them the concepts and just plugging them in with the engine and them starting development. So it's a hit the ground running type of operation.
But does that, I mean, when you're talking about you guys and what you're doing here, what about local competition? Like, is there anyone else that's or doing this, or would you say that maybe you're one of the first people that are really using AI as a tool for software development or enhancing the software development process?
The domain has seen a lot of promises of automating software development, etc. But a lot of the promises, even all the promises we've seen that have promised automation, fail at a certain extent when the application reaches a certain point of complexity. So because context is key.
So this is the tipping point.
Yeah. So context is key when using AI. You have to have full context on your application to be able to effectively grow and contribute. So the complex operations are where the AI still struggles. And we have succeeded in making this complexity simpler because we're very smart with the data we use. And we're very...
So again, it goes back to metadata, which is the data of data and how you organize your data to overcome that complexity.
To eliminate that barrier.
Okay.
Because rather than thinking of insanely large lines of code, we use data and then we use code. So the code is a byproduct, essentially. And the way we've been able to use it was a very nice way, which has allowed us to gain this edge and this advantage on competition. We get compared to a lot of tools that have been around for ages, but we target a different niche. So basically, low code and no code has been around for ages.
Yeah.
Low code and no code, the concept of dragging and dropping common libraries, common things to just create an application from scratch. This concept has been there, and it's around for something they call citizen developers. A citizen developer is a non-technical person that wants to have a technical output. So we're not here for citizen developers because you will reach a certain glass ceiling when developing using low code and no code. And this glass ceiling, when you reach it, which is typically when you want to scale your application, you will be forced to go the traditional route and create a traditional app from scratch to mimic the functionality and then start building. So it's هذا off topic بس هذا بتقولوا باللبناني مثل مطرح ما خير يشنقوه ما بكون عملت شيء.
Exactly.
They promise you an MVP out the door quickly. And they do achieve that. But once you reach the point where you want to become an actual product, very well established, scalable, you will be forced to go the traditional route. Smartr provides the speed to market of low code and no code, but with the scalability and advanced custom logic of traditional software development. And this is the advantage that we are in.
And it seems to me that it's not just the metadata, but it seems to me that it's also a lot of it is really dependent on the quality of the machine learning that Hanna's doing and the deep learning and also the algorithms that you guys are like all of these things combined. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because you guys have trained them and, like we said, raised that machine so well that you have allowed it to really do much more complex things than what is usually done by other competitors.
So it's a process of growing the engine. So we've built a lot of the expertise we've acquired throughout the years, throughout the process of serving the clients we've had the pleasure of working with. So we've been growing it in multiple ways, using multiple technologies and sometimes creating our own versions of technologies to accommodate, which is some of the concepts we'll be releasing soon. So it's an entire process in terms of working it and working around problems and making sure that they are delivered in the best way possible. So yeah, it's a continuous process. You have to innovate in any way possible, but the goal is always delivering value and quality code every single time. So yeah.
Great. And what, in your opinion, what would you say, if you had to summarize it, what would you say would be the key factors for like deploying a successful AI-driven software development solution?
It's quality. The end goal is always the most important thing. If whatever you use, the client needs to receive value.
Right.
Value in the form of something fast, something easily scalable,
Something that works.
And something that works. Exactly.
And works easily.
Exactly.
Like user-friendly.
Exactly. And you have to be able to grow it, whether in the form of the people working on it or whether in the form of the amount of people it serves as an end user.
Yeah. Now, we spoke a lot about how you guys train your AI models and improve it on a continuous basis, whether it's from lessons learned or from new technology or it's just a combination of a lot of things, like you said. But are there any current limitations to AI as a tool in software development?
In terms of limitations, I would rather the technology itself has the best minds in the world serving it, essentially. So the boundaries are continuously being pushed. What we see now, the major concept now is tackling complex operations in the form of very advanced logic.
But that's the thing, like this, where's the threshold? Like, how do you define it? Or is it really arbitrary? It's just dependent.
It's a case by case.
Case by case,
It's a case by case. What's complex to some can be simple to some, and what's simple to some is complex to others.
Yes.
So AI itself, what we're working personally as a company to get over is the ability to produce custom logic, advanced custom logic, like multiple stages of operations, basically thinking long term and maintaining context on this long term thinking is where we're trying to provide the most value.
And how are you doing that? Like, how are you trying to really push the boundaries when it comes to that?
We're taking advantage of every single technology we can, because we're not in a position of competition. This is never a position we wanted to be in. We are in a position of integration with a lot of technology.
Right.
I'm not here trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
But I will combine as much wheels possible to just make sure that this goes very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So we are in a position of integration, whether it's through OpenAI, whether it's through any other technology, essentially, and towards making a platform that will be non-invasive to the development process, because that's something very important. We want to plug in and whenever needed, plug out.
Yeah.
And when we plug in, we want to provide the most value possible directly.
Yeah.
So that's it.
So would you say, would it be a fair statement to say that, because as I told you, I come from a construction background, and we were just talking earlier about your uncle and how we're saying that the technology and the information and the knowledge, at least in our domain, and I don't know if this applies to you, but you can comment on that. It's always there, and it's always been there, and it's always improving there. It's the art in really being in that top 10% is how to take this information and how to take this data that's out there in our field in construction and delivering top quality product or asset or real estate, whatever it is, for the client in the most efficient way possible, the fastest way possible, with the best quality, and basically ensuring that the client is happy with this. Would you say that the same exact logic and concept also applies to your area, your domain?
It's really about starting with a very small circle of people and making them very, very happy with the service you offer, and then scaling outwards to new groups of people and just servicing these clients continuously and properly in a way that they can just rely on you. And this is how the brand happens.
Yeah.
So basically the brand is people knowing what to expect before they even receive it.
Okay. And how do you validate like your AI models and test them before they're deployed? Okay,
so we go by the concept of never trust a skinny chef.
I always used to say that. That people laugh at me when I say, "No, I'm happy you're the second one," because it's true. I mean, never trust a skinny chef.
So Smartr,
because he looks very sketchy. I mean, how are you chef and skinny?
So Smartr is built on Smartr.
Okay.
So whatever technology we release to the masses is a technology that was used to build the engine itself. And it gets implemented on the engine and tested on the engine and tested on our projects, whatever we have at that point in time, before being released to the public.
Yeah.
So we're very strict on practicing what we preach, whether it's through automation, whether it's through the utilization of AI. So this is a point that we pride ourselves in having.
In Arabic we would say يعني basically انت القاضي وانت الجلاد.
100%. Me.
Yeah,
So-
you're the judge and you're the punisher.
Exactly.
You basically, it's like talking to yourself in the mirror.
Exactly. We started Azure Soft is our ideal customer profile, essentially, and we modeled Smartr to serve the multiple stages we were as a company. Whether it's the freemium for freelancers that don't have any money to spend but want to make a living, to the pro version for people that know a little bit what they're doing but have a little limited finances, to the elite that basically has the best development houses in the world operating on it.
Amazing.
So
now you have your first, it's like self-claimed, or I wouldn't say, what is it right to say self-proclaimed, the first ever AI software engineer called, wait, am I pronouncing it Divo?
The name is negotiable. It was a name we just slapped on because we wanted something we wanted to call it something.
It sounds a bit sexy, Divo.
Yeah, Divo, exactly. I think there's a car named after it. I hope we don't run into some copywriting issues.
Okay.
But a lot of people have promised this developer.
Yeah.
And the occurrence of this developer, we've had a lot.
But are you officially the first? Is this officially the first AI software engineer?
When it releases, I have no idea if it's the first. But what I know is it is among the best, if not the best
in the world.
Exactly, simply due to the output it's able to provide, because it accesses the immense amount of code that Smartr is able to create. And combines it with the genius of the currently existing LLMs, large language models that are in existence. We're not here creating a large language model, we're using the GPT API. However, the code being produced is nowhere near GPT's work. This is our IP, and this has been our IP for the past 4 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, do you guys have any IPs registered for the things that you're doing?
Honestly, placing protections on code has become obsolete with time.
Why?
Because it's very hard to box it into something. So we did not want to waste our time protecting anything. We're just focusing on just providing value consistently and being ahead of everyone.
That's I was just going to say, from all the books that I read, especially by authors that come from tech background, they tell you, the first thing they tell you is, if you're going to do something, freaking do it fast and quick, and don't waste your time doing anything else. Because even if you try to put so much protection, no matter what you do, someone's going to come, do what you're doing, tweak it a little bit.
100%.
Go around your copyright or IP claims.
I'm trying to remember what the phrase is, but I'm forgetting as well.
Yeah, like just just go around and then be like, oh, sorry, I didn't really copy. I just changed these few things and that's it. Even though technically he did basically copy everything, but because he just tweaked it a little bit, it's not basically what do you call it?
Patenting.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the word. Yeah, it's very hard to patent software, and sometimes it's irrelevant to patent. Yeah, you just people remember the first, and you always have to try and be the first.
Yeah, you can patent a lot of other things, but software, as you said, it's just very hard. Very hard, because it's a lot of nuances, basically.
Exactly. And I don't have the experience to basically comment on this, but this is what
I don't think you also have the time or the energy. Like, I think you're
especially
more
now. Exactly.
More focused on growth and just scaling at this point. So what do you call it? Devo, when Devo is going to be deployed, what is he going to be capable of doing for the end user, for the client?
So basically, Devo would be able to create full source code, a fully working application from start to finish in under 5-6 minutes, simply from you.
This is freaking insane.
Yeah. So
I never thought the day would come where I would hear this. Wallah, like I'm not exaggerating. Like, it's just unreal. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah.
So it's a concept that we're very close to achieving, because I will walk you through the current process and how it is at Smartr. I would talk to you, I would agree, okay, you would tell me your business logic, what you want the application to do. I would set my schema for a database or whatever. I would run something called an instant app that we have that's a feature on Smartr for the past year and a half. It would take the schema and create a full application with full code ready for you to use. And you would build on top of this code and use elements from this code to build more code.
Yeah.
And that's how you get an application in under 10 minutes up and running. So the concept now is adding the AI layer, an additional AI layer, to even save this process from happening. So the AI would trigger the Smartr functionality and build on top of the Smartr functionality, essentially allowing it to get to this goal of getting big ass functions done, big features done in fractions of the time, without requiring the human element at all. So basically the human would be the integrator at the end, making sure everything is running and all the trains are running on time, essentially, and adding the flavor of the human element to this development process, and just making sure all customizations are there for the client to be happy.
Wow.
It's a gold mine for freelancers.
And I was just gonna say, like, this is gonna be a game changer.
It's something.
I mean,
very
it's
good.
not. It is going to be a game changer. Like, there's no doubt about that. Like, because if you think about it, all freelancers, all people that are developing software are just basically can do a whole week's worth of work in just a few minutes, few hours maximum.
It's something we're very proud of because we are giving a very high level of quality to the market. And it's also customizable quality. It's not something like, okay, this is how you work. Everything you used to do is wrong. You only have to write this way. The Smartr engine was created in a way that it is customizable for people. And the goal long term is for you as a developer to be able to create this, to customize this engine to give you the output that you want. So this has always been a goal, and this is what we've integrated into Smartr because development is a very personal operation. It's heavily reliant on the developer and on the state of this developer. So as much as we can accommodate this person and allow this person to grow and to be comfortable with the growth that's being unlocked, this is the goal, and this is what unlocks the value. This is something we're very proud of.
That's amazing. But when it comes to data and ethics, do you feel like and when it comes to data and ethics, how do you gather and curate the data for your AI models?
So, alhamdulillah, it's been something that we basically, they say it in Arabic, من دهنه قليله, basically. So we've been using a lot of our self-made material to just train this engine, and we have been reliant on open source. Basically, we're very ethical in everything that we do because it's a very important thing to respect whatever people are putting out. And just making sure that it's not being misused. I've seen a lot of instances, especially recently, of platforms using the content being produced by other content creators without consent to train AI models. So I don't know if you've seen this.
Like what? Can you give me an example? I think that's really ethical considerations is very big when it comes to AI, because you can pretty much ride someone's back to sort of get where you are without putting any effort, actually minimal effort, like it's just very unethical, because all those people that have done the work for years, you're just taking a machine, using the public data that's out there that they've provided and teaching it to do what they're doing, and then basically monetizing off of it without barely doing anything.
There are a lot of gray lines. It's a very gray area. Not a lot of people make it clear what you can or cannot use. But what's the most important is basically giving back to the development community in a way that benefits it long term. Because there isn't a correct way to do anything. You just have to be as ethical as possible, as proper as.
But is there a way to sort of protect yourself from this, or is there a way where you can, I don't know, like increase the ethical consideration when it comes to this, like whether it's copyright infringement or even just like intellectual infringement? Like if you really, how can you protect yourself from these sort of things?
Honestly, I have no idea. It's something we're discovering as we go forward. So
it's tough. All right. And sorry, what did you address? So also staying on the topic of data and ethics, how do you address bias? Because that's something that's of a big interest to me, because obviously bias can easily happen, and it happens all the time in AI. So how do you guys address that?
Thankfully development as a domain is a bit unbiased because it's code. It's independent of whatever, let's call it, political situations that are around. So we've thankfully not been on the receiving end of a lot of problems from that. But yeah, the end goal is basically having this verification of the quality of this code, whether it's through the tests we run, whether it's through the people that are using it. The final element is the test, and that's what establishes whether we have to go back to the drawing board on some topics or whether it's good to go. So the applied element is what protects us from whatever problems bias might bring forward.
Okay, that's good. And can you recall, I know you mentioned Dubai Corporate Games is one of your favorite projects, or if not your favorite, but can you recall any particular project or service that you guys have done which has really had a severe impact in resolving maybe a particular issue?
All of our projects, honestly, have had this impact because we gave our clients a very good advantage, which has been the ability to pivot very, very quickly. One of our other projects that
Can you give me an example if you can?
So one of the projects that I love, it's a fresh dog food platform. So basically similar to any food, similar to any diet plan, you would log your pet in, weight, body type, eating habits essentially, and you would get a custom plan delivered to your door. It's fresh dog food, basically made within the UAE, sourced within the UAE.
You're joking.
Wallah Azim. So it's an amazing platform. Aboud is he's become a very close friend, one of the very first people I met when I came to Dubai.
Yeah, he's a founder of this company.
Exactly. So we've worked from them from the very start when it was a concept, and we've gone with them in terms of development.
How did you guys meet?
It was through friends of friends.
Oh my god!
And this it was the second project we took when we arrived in Dubai. So we've pivoted an insane amount of times. And every single pivot, whether it's a huge addition or a small addition, was a matter of weeks all the time. So basically having this blessing of adding functionality, changing functionality, executing your plan as quickly as possible is a blessing we've given to all of our clients. So you would unlock a lot of speed and a lot of trust and a lot of just plain acceleration, which helps a business, because the faster you can get market validation, the faster you can succeed as a company.
Yes, exactly.
And this speed to market is what we were able to provide, because everything is a matter of weeks for us. Dubai Corporate Games was done in 4 weeks.
Wow.
Full platform. It was like the live score applications. The creating an app like that isn't easy.
It's not easy, but your model has been trained so well that it makes it look easy.
Exactly. We've done a good job, alhamdulillah, on making these projects look easy and execute quickly. So, and this is the concept that we're now passing down, whether it's through the development academy that we're starting to do, that we're preparing for basically a developer to come in with zero knowledge and come out as a developer that can actually make a living from software. And
wasn't there a government in Dubai and the UAE in general are so freaking big on AI that they want to make sure that they retain and nurture whatever local talent is, whether it's through the form of people or organizations, so that they have this knowledge in-house and not have to import it from abroad.
It's been a pleasure, honestly, being in the country here and seeing the innovation and the will towards innovating that they've basically provided to the market. They've always, as you said, they've always been big on these types of innovations. And I lost track.
Because we're talking about how they nurture and
So they've always been big on innovation, and this has reflected by the quality of the environment they've created. Whether it's through you being able to access any infrastructure company, whether it's AWS, Google, or Microsoft Azure, all directly due to their headquarters being here, ease of communication, ease of execution, the banking facilities, everything basically. It's an ideal location for companies to thrive in. So yeah, that's been very, very good.
And obviously, this has helped you a lot. But also, another question that I had is how, like, when it comes to the life cycle, would you say that this using AI in software development does improve the life cycle of the software, or it's pretty much the same in comparison to older traditional?
It revolutionizes
Yeah.
because code quality is something that someone should be able to maintain consistently. And going the manual route makes this hard. However, when a very large portion of your code is handled by AI or models or whatever, it makes the ability to stay up to date very, very easy, because we always have rolling features happening on Smartr. So whatever framework adjustments, whatever improvements are done are directly implemented. It only costs you like a run patch thing that would basically get your entire source code up and running in record time. So it saves the problem that some companies later years face, which is outdated code, which is where the real problems of software happen. Because you're faced with either the big process of repeating your work, or just going and digging through the hole and basically improving already existing code, which is something that's very hard and very
It's so funny
inconvenient.
that you mentioned this, because weeks ago, I would say maybe around 2 months ago, I had a podcast with the founder. He's a very good friend of mine, of urent.com,
Okay.
which is the Airbnb of cars in Dubai. So you take your car, you put it on the platform, you rent it. And he is the first and only company to partner up with the RTA. So they had like some sort of cooperation or like a merger or some initiative that they're doing together, where basically he is the official partner for this, and then they obviously support him in their own ways. I don't know obviously the details of the deal, but he told me a story about how he was, and I don't know if I can mention the name, so I'll leave the name of the company out, but obviously because of the platform, and he's also like you, he's a coder. He's studied software development, and he's very big on quality of code. He's very big on it. He's like, it's all about how good your code is to determine how good your company is, especially when in this space. And he was telling me that he's like, you'd be surprised who I was talking to. He's like one of the largest rental companies in the world. He's like, I could not believe when I was looking at the software that they had this shitty ass software for a company of that size that has the largest fleet of rental cars in the world. And they were so impressed with his code and with his software that they are in talks of maybe potentially acquiring him, or him basically doing the entire rebuild for them, because exactly what you said, because when the code was done or software was developed, its life cycle ended at a specific point, and then after that, khalas, it's not up to date, like you said, anymore. It's just so outdated that it will cost a lot more to fix it than redoing it.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the downsides of software development. You have to always stay up to date. You need to do it's a daily work, it's a daily effort, or a weekly or monthly effort. It's a periodic effort, let's call it. It's a periodic effort that you need to always consistently do, just so that you don't get into this hole of being a lot of versions behind of where the world actually is, because that's where you can get out of support in instance, basically.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit more about like the community and the collaboration community. Do you feel like there's also a lot of, because it's such a niche thing, the people that are really good in it, do you feel like there is a lot of support and collaboration from like the local companies here, or even in your community internationally? So when I'm also around like the crypto people, they're always like in their little like gangs and mobs, and they're always like traveling together and going to places together and staying in houses together, and I feel like there's just so much collaboration between them that I feel like they're a little cult that just...
The tech domain in itself is very cult based. Every technology has its own following of people that basically swear by it.
Yeah.
So we haven't had the pleasure of working with a lot of people outside of Smartr. Development houses, etc. But this is something we are building on achieving, because the distribution for Smartr will be for development houses. And we are planning to give back to the development community as a whole through the offerings that we're going to be bringing to the table very soon. So yeah, collaboration is key if you want to reach global standards and global levels. So it's a non-negotiable if you want to actually do something that benefits the world.
Yeah. So there has to be a lot of support from your fellow peers. Would you say that, or is it a safe statement to say that like the AI itself enhances the work rather than replace it? Or would you feel like it could potentially replace a lot of jobs?
It replaces what needs replacing, honestly.
Okay.
So lots of things become obsolete with time. We've seen this with newspapers. We've seen this with countless other technologies that started as a very big thing but failed to basically keep up with requirements. But one thing's for sure is that when a door locks, another opens.
Yeah.
So the doors that will be locked due to it becoming obsolete due to AI will open the door for a lot of other things for people to thrive in. So the room for development will always be there.
Yeah.
Personal development, essentially.
Yeah. And do you feel like there's a correlation between human intelligence and AI? Do you feel like they're positively correlated, like or at some point AI might even surpass like normal human intelligence?
When we reach this point, it will be something very special. Lots of the biggest brains in the world are working towards this general artificial intelligence, and God knows what will happen and the possibilities that will be unlocked once we reach that. I don't know who said it, but the quote is, general AI will be the last thing humans need to invent, because it will just take the reins and go forward. This is all propositions. We never
then
know.
you end up with basically that Will Smith movie iRobot, more or less.
Everything's possible, honestly. So,
because then, like you said, you just don't need to do anything.
Exactly. So this is a very futuristic point.
Yeah.
No one knows what will happen.
Yeah.
Not even the guys working behind it know what to do with it. It's just a point that humanity will somehow reach at some point in time, and it's going to be an exciting and slightly frightening time.
Yeah, exactly, because it's that's it. I mean, that's the epitome, right?
Exactly.
Because if we reach that point, it's so crazy to think of the possibilities.
Yeah.
That you don't even know. It could be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on who's pushing the buttons, you know.
Exactly.
When it comes to regulations and compliance, are there like any regulatory challenges that you guys have in this domain?
It's not about challenges, it's about standards, honestly. It's about maintaining these standards. We're working on our SOC 2 Type 2 compliance as well, just to make sure that we're not legally, but the standards are high enough for anyone to use the platform.
Yeah.
And security is the epitome of whatever we do. It's something we always have in mind, whether it's for client deliveries or Smartr development as a whole. We only use the best tools in the world on the best platforms in the world to do what we do.
Okay.
And that's a very important part of making sure that you are worthy of the trust being given to you by your users and by your customer base and by your extended customer base. Extended customer base meaning the clients of the clients, because you're producing code and who knows who this code is for.
Yeah.
You know? So the standards that you implement when creating this code, maintaining this code, maintaining the data for this code is something that is non-negotiable, essentially, because you are in direct correlation with the job business market. So,
and how do you handle these people's like privacy and security, like these clients? How do you make sure you protect it?
So a very important part of Smartr is that
because I think you have 4 layers. You mentioned 4 layers of protection and quality assurance.
Yeah. So it's a process. Essentially, we test our code for speed. We test our code for security, the quality of the code that's written. It's a multi-stage process that we implement. And a very important part also is that we don't use critical information. It's critical information which is the most important and most critical part, hence the name, which is the most important part of where people need to take the most caution. This is something that's irrelevant for us. We don't use that to create code. So the data itself is very I'm not going to say unimportant. The data itself is easy to handle.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of securely storing and basically proper interaction with it.
Yeah.
And also for development houses that, or for any entity that has security, additional layers of security required, we also have on-prem implementations. So for example, if someone wants an engine that runs in a closed environment, it's something we are also able to implement. So yeah, we cover these aspects to make sure the experience is very uniform and very up to what the user expects.
Amazing. You made a very interesting comparison where you put your company and a bunch of competitors, well, specifically 6 competitors, if you want to include the traditional software development. And in that comparison table, in that matrix, you stated that pretty much Smartr covers almost the entire cycle, as opposed to all the other competitors who may cover, from my calculation, I actually did a little bit of math, is your competitors are only covering 20 to 50% at most of the development cycle that you guys are doing. And I'm just like so curious to know, how did you manage to do that? Is it really just pure genius? Is it just pure hard work? Like, what is it? Like, what's that edge that you guys have that made you be able to make such a bold statement?
It's a very David and Goliath setup, honestly, because we are getting compared against a lot of the big names in the business.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm gonna get to that.
So it's a matter of just pure, honest hard work and just trying to bring forward the most value possible in the quickest amount of time. So, which has allowed us to achieve what we're achieving now, because what we pride ourselves in having is not a tool that is used by some developer. It's a tool that has been used on 20 projects for 12 clients in 5 countries consistently for the past while. And this has all been a contributor to the stage that we are now. And now it's a matter of taking it to the next level to hopefully be at the same level of all these giants and behemoths of the technology sector. Because we are targeting a domain that has been malnourished with time, because software development, especially at the larger level, is still in itself manual. Sometimes it's something, the good old basically ways are being used with minor automation, and
which
this
is good for you, because that's where you shine.
Exactly. So this is where we want to contribute the most, and this is why we are in a position of integration with a lot of people. So because it wouldn't make sense to just try and dethrone huge multi-million dollar companies. I mean, we are now. But if you provide significant value that puts you at the same level as these companies and even higher, this is where we're able to shine, and this is where we're targeting to.
Yeah, because I'm gonna quote you, and this is what you're saying. So from the $6,000 that you used to come here, and going up against all of these big companies that I'm about to mention, and I'm just gonna basically read how strong and capable these companies are, just to sort of highlight the impact that you guys are doing. So OutSystems, which was founded in 2001 and has $360 million in secured in 2018, and an annual revenue of 100 million. You're going up against them. Mendix, which was founded in 2005 and has almost $38 million in funding. You're going up against them. Devon, which is a product of Cognition Labs, is also someone that you're going up against, and this company is valued at $2 billion. And last but definitely not least, ChatGPT, which requires no introduction, also valued at $85 billion. You're also going up against them. And with all of these companies, I looked at the matrix that you did, and that at best, as I said, they're covering 50%.
Yeah.
So it's just driving me crazy that really, what are you guys doing? Like, what's the secret that's making you go up all of these freaking giants with a company that started from $6,000 that you had when you moved here?
Yeah. So
it's insane. It's really it's insane.
Thank you. It's about who we target, honestly. and the work we put out. I mentioned earlier regarding the citizen developer sector. These are consumer products for consumer people. We're going to more towards the niche software developer area, which has been underserved in a way. So this is the value we're providing. This is where we want to target. So it's a challenge because we will be linked to the value that these guys already provide, but we know that we are in a very interesting area in terms of the quality and the speed, because we do combine a lot of their qualities and give it a flavor of our own in terms of the advantage we are able to provide the people that choose to use our service, basically.
And I think it's also I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when it comes to these sort of companies, like in this domain, in tech specifically, a lot of the success for the local companies or for the companies in this region is their ability to localize the service to serve the market more efficiently than companies that are just operating overseas and are maybe working on a much larger scale than... maybe you guys.
So basically localization is key in a lot of things. What we're doing is that we're trying to attack the larger market. Essentially, we're targeting multiple markets throughout the world, because development is a global language, and it's a product that would be used by anyone. It's something, and that's a good thing and a bad thing also. A bad being because you can't start serving everyone directly. So it's a matter of taking like a stage-by-stage approach, but it is a global attack on the market that we're trying to implement. So we want to...
And you guys are ready for it.
Hopefully we will.
This is good. Now, you guys, like the way that you did, it's just so impressive, the growth. And I'm just really like interested in knowing, how are you guys securing new clients? I know we've already talked about how it's just mainly word of mouth, but like, are you actually doing any marketing efforts, or is it just references and just, reputation?
As of now, we've thankfully relied on our reputation for all the outreach. So our clients had become our best marketers, honestly, which has been amazing. And now the goal is toning down on the software development house operations and just focusing on providing the Smartr service for everyone. So the marketing channels,
which is a subscription-based model.
Exactly. Okay. So now we're transitioning the marketing, we're transitioning the go-to-market plan towards marketing channels, and we will be capitalizing on whatever works best, honestly. So
I'm just also curious, who was the highest profile client that you guys worked with so far here?
We've worked with a lot of names. We've subcontracted one of the biggest. We've subcontracted one of the biggest telecom giants in the world. I'm under NDA, so honestly can't say who this is. But we've thankfully served everyone from small startups with no starting capital to giants in the industry. So we've gone through and throughout with everyone on. So
nice. And I'm also like very intrigued by the numbers. In just a few years, you managed to do a revenue of almost 3 million, which is very impressive, especially for like a startup. But do you feel like this is higher than what you expected, or you maybe had that number in mind?
It was a byproduct of the work we've gone towards. Just to clarify, it's 3 million dirhams, not USD. Alhamdulillah, we've passed
3 million dirhams still a lot.
We've passed $1 million recently in lifetime revenue, which was something very nice to see. So it was.
Have you guys done so? Wait, what was the revenue, and have you guys done any valuation for the company?
Okay, so we've crossed $1 million to date.
Okay.
The past 3 years, which was very, very nice to see, honestly. And every penny has been reinvested into building the company to what it is today.
Right.
And in the Smartr release that will be coming in this year. So in terms of a set valuation, we haven't valuated the company yet, but we're in the process of doing so because we have a lot of operations through and throughout.
What about your own valuation of the company?
It's priceless, honestly, to me. So it's I'm very biased when it comes to
but
that.
if you had to put a number,
it's an easy $7 million company as it stands.
That's amazing. $7 million is great for a company that's been operating for less than 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
the
obviously
lessons of-
because a lot of it is really the knowledge.
It's we pride ourselves on the
tech.
quality we've been able to create for clients and for ourselves in-house.
Mm.
The very important part is that all of our IP has been developed in-house with absolutely no external help. So
So you don't owe anyone anything, basically.
Exactly. And whatever we integrate with, we make it very clear that it's an integration and we're not here taking credit for anyone's work on it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And are you guys looking to like scale and raise funds?
And we are in the process of doing so.
Well, for what? What would you need the funds for? Like what is it that you want to invest in?
like a process I'm keeping it super down low.
Okay.
This will be used to grow the marketing channel, Smartr development, grow the team. And there are big plans, especially للشهور الجاية. بس لا, I'm not making this information very public. I'd rather not. ما حدا يعرف يعني. Until it happens, when we close, it gets announced.
Yeah, but do you guys have any plan on exiting Smartr if you received a good valuation or if you received a good buyout option from, I don't know, maybe a large competitor or any major investor?
The goal basically now is to provide value to the development market globally, and this is where our core focus is on. Whatever happens later on will be judged at the time of the moment. So, but yeah, now the goal is getting Smartr up and running and getting as much people using it as we can.
That's very good. And what would you say is the biggest lesson that you've had so far? I mean, I know it hasn't been too long, but I'm sure it's been very intense in terms of work.
For me personally, a very important thing I learned is you have to know finance.
Yeah.
You have to know cash flow. You have to know every aspect
Trust me,
of this business.
this could not be more true for construction. At least I did not know that was a case in tech too.
Because cash is king always.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that you have the fuel to keep running at all times.
Yeah.
Especially when managing with limited funds. This was a lesson I learned very recently, and it's a lesson I'm thankful to learn.
Yeah.
And this has been one of the very big turning points of my, let's call it, journey as a person. So this was one of the lessons I learned. And another lesson is basically you have to show up every single time, no matter what happens, and you have to be fully aware that everything you do is high leverage and it affects more people than you can imagine.
Yeah.
And this is a standard that helps someone just maintain a proper level of output consistently every single day.
Yeah. And I mean, you stand out from all of my other guests because you are the only one probably that has jumped straight into entrepreneurship without working a single day for anyone. I mean, I was also the same too because I work with my dad, but in your case, it's different because you're working for yourself, so not even your dad. And because of this particular situation of yours, I really want to ask you if you had to like give advice for someone that wants to do the same thing, what would you tell him if it's something that he should do or he should avoid? Because I'm sure now that in hindsight, you probably look back and be like, should have done this. Maybe I should have not done that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to reiterate on the previous point. Learn finance as quick as you can.
Yeah.
And
so that's that they should really know, learn how money. Yeah.
If you want to build a company quickly,
yeah,
it will save you a lot of the headache.
Okay, so that's one.
This is the most pressing lesson that صراحة اللي أخذتها. I can repeat this لأنه خبصنا شوي.
Yeah.
So basically learn finance as early as possible. Surround yourself with people that will drive you forward.
Yeah. And
that will make sure that you feel like shit if you underperform.
So an accountability partner, basically.
Exactly. And an accountability environment, essentially. Yes. Because when you are surrounded by high performers, you will always aim to be a high performer. Right. Because you will be an outcast if you're not.
You're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most.
100%.
So who's your accountability partner? Hanna?
He is a very important one. And I'm thankful to be surrounded by a lot of people that always push boundaries in their own way. That inspire me in multiple ways, honestly. And I also always make sure that everything around me just supplies information.
Yeah.
Whether it's through the people I follow, through the information I take in on a consistent basis. So just an environment of growth is a very important thing.
Nice. And what's the best advice you ever received, and from who?
And
Because I need to know
so
who's your one go-to person, like your mentor.
there's a lot of advice that has been just funneled in throughout the years, but one thing that really sticks out is
That's
one
the
that
one I'm
I
looking
took
for.
from in my first weeks, and thank you to Danny for that. It's early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable.
Wait, again. I've never heard this before. Again?
Early is on time
Yeah.
is late, and late is unacceptable.
Nice.
And this applies to how you show up,
I like this.
when you deliver, how you deliver, and everything. It's been
That's-
something like حلقة بالدينة مثل ما
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think if you do just that, you're already in like the top.
Yeah.
What,
It's a very important part.
Yeah.
And another one is a Hormozy quote.
Yeah.
This is not as much as advice as it is like a concept.
Yeah.
Is that true confidence does not come from shouting affirmations it comes from having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
I think.
And actually, that's very true, because again, quoting Hormozy, I didn't know that we we're going to talk about Hormozy now, but he also mentioned something about podcasts and not podcasts actually, or it was about content creation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it's 10 times better to work for many years and create something and then doing content about it
Exactly.
than to start doing content with nothing to prove
Exactly.
and no track record.
Exactly.
Because when you want to talk about something, you want to talk about something with authority,
Yeah. Exactly.
with knowledge, with experience, with mess ups, with successes. So focus on your craft. And I think, honestly, I think that's a very Levantian thing. Because by the way, he's Persian originally.
Yeah.
And I think he takes it also from because I'm going to claim as one of us. I think it's a Levantian thing that we are craft masters.
Yeah.
We really perfect our craft, whether it's Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine, whatever, like these countries. And I'm assuming also same applies to Iran, is that if we're very hyper-focused on what we have in hand, that we sort of really try to like perfect that craft to the maximum. Because if you notice that most of the big names that come out of this region are all craft perfectors.
Yeah.
Whether it's a CEO or a fashion designer or an actor, and you might say that, oh yeah, but this is just basic knowledge. I'm like, no, we're kind of like the Italians of the region, right? Because in Europe there's all the countries are producing countries and industrial, especially Western Europe, but only the Italians stand out. And only the Italians are able to always sell their product at a premium than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they just really perfected to the point where their design just becomes so unique. Whatever it is that they do, it's just always different. It's always that like one level up.
Yeah, the craftsmanship element is always there.
Yeah.
But it's a true differentiator, honestly. And this is something also in the region, as you said, that's a standout. Basically.
Yeah, and I think I think honestly at this point I'm starting to be fully convinced it's a genetical thing. Like it's just it's in your mind, you know. It's just the way that you look at things, the way you identify opportunity, the way that you tackle this opportunity. That's why I don't know. It's just different. Anyway, that brings the end of this wonderful podcast, the longest podcast for sure, and the most interesting one.
It's an absolute pleasure, man.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That was really, really good. And we're done.